I made these cute heart soap embeds a few months ago, and today I'm going to show you the soap that I made with them. This is going to be a large batch because I have 3 embeds and I only want to use 1 embed per loaf of soap. I started by dissolving a little sugar in some water. The sugar is just a lather booster. Then I used ice for the remainder of the water content to help cut down on the fumes when I add the sodium hydroxide and to kind of keep the temperature a little lower. Then I melted a pinch of silk into the lye solution because I really like the feel that silk adds to the soap. Now that my lye solution is mixed, I'm going to set that aside and combine all my oils. For this soap, I'm only using 3 oils. The first is lard that I rendered last year with coconut oil and olive oil. While my hard oils were melting, I cut the embeds to the length of my soap molds, and then I cut those end pieces into smaller pieces that I will use on the top of the soap. I decided to keep this recipe super simple, so the only additives I'm using are kale and clay, both for the skin benefits it provides and because it will help anchor the scent. And the fragrance oil I chose for this is a mixture that smells both a little fruity and sweet. Once I've blended the clay into the oils really well, I added the lye solution, and then I just blended that to emulsion, maybe a light trace, because I'm separating the batter to add some colors, so I don't want it to thicken up too quickly. I'm using red high heels and magic purple, both from Be Scented, and a little bit goes a long way. Both of these colors ended up being a little darker than I intended, but I think they came out beautiful. I blended all of the batter to barely a medium trace, and I decided I wanted to do an in the pot swirl, so I'm dropping the colored batter into the uncolored batter in different places throughout the bucket. And because my batter was still a little thin, I didn't stir it at all so I wouldn't muddy the colors too much. After pouring a bottom layer into my molds, I tried to place the embed, but the batter was still too thin and it was sinking. So I waited about 5 minutes, and when I came back, it seemed firm enough to hold the embed. I'm just using the spatula here to keep the weight of the pour from pushing the embed to the bottom of the mold. And for the last loaf of soap, I'm using this round mold that I think I got from Amazon. I really like it because it stands on its own, but as you'll see when I unmold the soap, it makes more of an oval than a round loaf. After I got all the batter into the molds, it was still too soft to texture the top, so I waited another 10 or 15 minutes and it was still a little soft, but I was running out of patience at this point, so I decided it was good enough. But in hindsight, the hearts that I placed on top would have looked better had I held out a little longer, because some of them sank into the batter a little bit too much. At this point, this soap is kind of reminding me of the Sweet Tart candy wrapper. These loaves did go through gel phase. In fact, they got so hot that I stuck them in the freezer for several hours to keep the tops from splitting. And after getting that hot, they also hardened up really quickly. And I probably should have unmolded them sooner because they were really difficult to cut. This zipper mold did not leak at all. The soap batter just seeped into the zipper and made these seams. So I used a vegetable peeler to shave the seams off. And this is the vegetable peeler I use exclusively for beveling my soaps. I really struggled with the cutter on these, and it made me nervous that I was going to break a wire. So I cut the final loaf with a solid cutter, and it still took a lot of elbow grease. But I am so happy with how these turned out. I've been using one of these bars for the last few weeks, and this soap has the best lather. I named this one Sweetheart Swirl.